Hello, everybody. This is Anna Karenina by Leo Tolstoy. Part 5, Chapter 12. Anna and Vronsky, wearying of their friend's learned loquacity, exchanged glances. Finally, they left the two men to their discussion and went to make a further examination of the studio. They stopped before a small painting. "Ah, how charming! What a gem!" said both at once. What pleases them so, thought Mikolov. He had completely forgotten this picture, painted 3 years before. When once he had painted a picture, he no longer cared to see it, and he had brought this one out only because an Englishman had thought of purchasing it. "That's nothing," he said, "only an old study." "Ah, but it's capital," replied Golenishev very honestly, falling under the charm of the painting. Two children were fishing under the shade of a laburnum. The elder, all absorbed, was cautiously pulling his line from the water. The younger, lying in the grass, leaning his blond, frowsly head on his hand, was gazing at the water with great pensive eyes. What was he thinking about? The enthusiasm caused by this study brought back somewhat of Mikolov's first emotion, but he did not love the vain memories of the past, and he preferred to take his guests to a third painting. Vronsky angered him by asking if the painting was for sale. The question of money seemed to him to be in bad taste, and he frowned as he replied, "It was put up for sale." After his visitors had gone, Mikolov sat down before his painting of Christ and Pilate, and mentally reviewed all that had been said and understood by them. And how strange! The observations which seemed so weighty when they were present, and when he put himself on their plane, now lost all significance. As he examined his work with the artist's eye, he regained the full conviction of his perfection and its lofty value. And he therefore again felt the disposition of mind necessary for the continuance of his work. The foreshortening in the leg of the Christ was not quite correct. He seized his palette, and while he was correcting it, looked long at the head of John, which seemed to him to show the highest degree of perfection, and his visitors not even noticed it. He tried to give this also a few touches, but to work well he must be less excited and reach the right medium between indifference and exultation. At this moment he was agitated. He started to cover the canvas, and he stopped. Then lifting the drapery with one hand, he smiled ecstatically at his St. John. At last, tearing himself from his contemplation, he let the curtain fall and went home, weary but happy. Vronsky, Anna, and Golenishev, returning to the palazzo, were very lively and gay. They talked about Mikolov and his paintings. The word talent was often heard as they talked. They meant by it not only an inner gift, almost physical, independent of spirit and heart, but also something more extended, the real meaning of which escaped them. Talent, they said. He certainly has, but this talent's not sufficiently developed because he lacks intellectual culture, a fault common to all Russian artists. But the painting of the two boys appealed to their tastes, and again they recurred to it. How charming, how natural, how simple, and he didn't realize how good it was. "I must not fail to buy it," said Vronsky.